Hi, this is Joyce Goodman. I'm so happy you could join me in the kitchen today. I have a treat for you. I'm going to make my crazy cookie clusters, and it is gluten-free. They are not low in calories, but if you eat everything in moderation, you're okay. Just don't eat 10 cookies at once. 1 or 2 will do it. Now, what I'm going to do, I've used an 11-ounce bag of granola. I really like using granola more than cereal. I like the consistency of it, but because it is a little bit chunky, I suggest you pre-soak the granola. I'm using a cup of almond cashew milk. The markets are wonderful today. You can get so many good things. I'm adding an egg, and I'm also adding some cinnamon. I like adding the cinnamon while I'm mixing this because the granola has a lot of nooks and crannies. If you put the cinnamon in dry cereal, it'll get stuck, and then you'll have little clumps of cinnamon that maybe you don't want that much. Now, to help with time, I have already pre-soaked, and again, this granola has the milk and the egg and some cinnamon. Now to this, I'm gonna add some nutmeg, and this is just a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. I'm gonna add some vanilla, a teaspoon of vanilla. Now comes the good stuff. I'm gonna stir this up just a little bit. I'm adding a half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate bits. Now, chocolate in its natural state is gluten-free. There are packages, they have some that do say gluten-free on it, so be sure to read your label if you are really seriously gluten intolerant. Now I'm also adding a half a cup of nuts. This has a lot of good protein in it, and nuts have a good oil in them. I'm adding a half a cup of cranberries. You can use raisins. I like the flavor of cranberries, plus they're very good for you. They're good for your kidneys. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. I like the flavor of coconut sugar. It has a caramel flavor, and it's more in its natural state than a regular cane sugar. But sugar is sugar, calories are calories. Now, I'm using apple butter, and I like using apple butter as a sweetener. It's got a great taste, and all that's in this is apple, and it's in like an apple cider. It's the only ingredients. Now, the best part is I have a cup of butter, nut butter. You can use peanut butter, which I'm using on this. You can use almond butter. It's really good for you, great fat. So we'll get all of this out of the way. Let me wipe my hands off a little bit. Then we're gonna just incorporate it. This has a wonderful layer, a complexity of flavors. People are always surprised. They think, oh, what is that? You know, it's really gluey, but boy, when it bakes out, it is so good. This is like playing to me. I love working with food. And I love cooking and baking for my family and seeing their reaction. Hopefully it's always a good reaction. Had a couple of oops here and there because I like to be creative and try different things. But if you're really creative, you can turn those oops into ahs. And that's what I'm looking for. It tastes so good. Okay, now this is nicely mixed. We are going to put this by teaspoonfuls. Get that little bit of extra peanut butter there. I'm gonna drop it by teaspoonfuls on a baking sheet. Now, I always get my hands in my cooking. My dad would say, did you wash your hands? Yes, Dad, I did. And I did, I honestly did. So you're gonna drop that. This usually makes 24 to 36 cookies, depending on how many you're putting on your baking sheet. So I'm going to try to do this quickly, and I have a surprise for you. I have a batch already cooking in the oven. We're going to just load up this cookie sheet. These cookies don't spread, so you can put them pretty close together. I'm trying to do this quickly so you won't get bored watching. But if you were here, you were going to go, oh, can't wait to taste it. But again, do everything in moderation. There's nothing you can't eat. It's how much you eat, and always, always try to keep your food balanced. If you're going to have something sweet, have a little protein ahead of time. Okay, 1 more row of cookies. And we're going to stick them in the oven. Trying to hurry here. Smells so good. Now, if the camera weren't on, I'd lick my fingers, but I won't do that. Okay, here we go. These are going in the oven. The others are coming out of the oven. Let me get my hot pads here, and we'll quickly serve them up. Oh, they smell so good. Oven is hot though, be careful. And voila, here we are. Nice batch of cookies. Boy, they smell so good. Now, I always like to cool my cookies on a baking rack, because if you don't, they get a little gluey on the bottom, so we want them to air out a little bit. And they are crumbly, that's why I call them my crazy cookie clusters. Here we go. So we're ready to have a nice plate of cookies, have some neighbors over, a nice cup of tea. So happy that you could join me. Now, my cookbook has this recipe and many more. You can see the little cover to the book over there. If you want more information on all these ingredients, please click on the link below. And if you have any questions or you want me to give you any more information, feel free to contact me. Again, my name is Joyce Goodman. Thank you for joining me. I wish I had a cup of tea for you right now. Enjoy.